Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome today not to review, more an adventure. The £10 watch challenge. Can you buy a decent watch for only £10? That's about $13 US or 18.50 Australian or Canadian dollars, depending on current exchange rates, obviously. That was the task I was assigned by fellow YouTuber Ben Arthur. Now Ben has got a couple of different YouTube channels. He's got one concentrating on men's style and fashion, which of course I have no interest in, and he's a second channel focusing on the budget end of the watch market. Anyway, he got in touch with me towards the end of last year and asked would I be interested in taking part in this £10 watch challenge, and I said, who are you kidding? I'd love to. Now, not only did I grasp that particular nettle, but I took all my clothes off, rolled in the entire field of nettles until my body was covered in blisters. I ended up buying not one, but 6 different watches, all at or around £10. Anyway, I got in touch with Ben just before Christmas, and it looked like I was the only one to grasp the nettle because the video ended up not happening. But there's no reason why I can't share my experience with you, and that's what I'm going to do today. Now, there were a number of criteria. I wasn't allowed to use my influence as a YouTuber, buying a watch off a friend for £10 and using that to win the competition. I was also not allowed to just go out and buy the Casio F91, the kind of default £10 watch choice. I could buy a watch from anywhere, but I couldn't repair it, so I couldn't buy a damaged watch and then repair it myself, but I was allowed to add postage. So the watches I'm looking at today are all around $18.50 Australian plus postage. I go a little bit over, but not too far over. What did I end up buying? Let's find out. So obviously everybody wants to find that 17 jewel manual wind Inca block Swiss nugget that has been mislabeled on eBay or hiding in the back of a drawer somewhere, ending up in a flea market. And of course that's what I looked for. The one that's just the right size, not too big, not too small, a bit of poly watch and a new strap, and it'll look like $1 million. Unfortunately, there's no way I was going to find that. I had a good look on eBay, I trawled eBay for days and days and days looking for exactly that, but they were all well out of budget. Now, I live in Sydney, which is one of the most expensive cities in the developed world. I haven't seen too many flea markets in my time here. I did have a look at a couple of charity shops, but it just wasn't going to happen. So where do you think I went next? Yes, that's right, you've guessed it. AliExpress. Of course I was going to go to AliExpress. There are literally thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of watches for less than £10 on Ali. Most of them utter junk, I appreciate. There's usually also though a voucher that you can get, so I thought I was being really smart. I registered with a new email address and got a $4 voucher, so that gave me a buying power of about $22.50. Now I thought, no point looking at autos, I'm just going to buy rubbish. Let's see if I can find a half decent quartz for $22.50. Less the voucher obviously. And I thought maybe I could even pick up a quartz chronograph for that price. Wouldn't that be nice? A quartz chronograph for £10. And I found this one by a brand called Oschtin. Now I'd reviewed one Oschtin back in the channel in the dim and distant past, and it was alright. It was sapphire and it was only about $26 US at the time. So I thought the one on the tan strap looked not bad. I ordered it, and a few weeks later it arrived in Sydney. It was the first watch to arrive and I got all excited. I unboxed it, I peeled off the stickers, and it was dead. The battery was dead on arrival. Now, annoying, but to an extent forgivable. Who knows how long these watches sit in a Chinese warehouse before they're eventually shipped out to consumers. Now, I have in my possession obviously various tools. I had a case back removal tool and I managed to find the correct battery in a drawer. So you can add $2 on top of this. We're now up to about 11 quid effectively. Put the battery in and, well, it works as you can see there, but it's not exactly what you would call attractive, is it? All 3 of those subdial hands point in different directions. It's kind of a 30-minute chronograph, which in itself is quite remarkable to find for £10. The strap's half decent as well, but would I wear it? I'm not so sure that I would. So strike one. On then to eBay, where I thought, what could possibly go wrong? I'm going to buy a watch from India for £10. Yes, I kid you not. Indian watches have a terrible reputation at this price point, and deservedly so. Most of them are Franken watches. That Oris that you're buying, or that Seiko 5 that you're buying, they're not Orises or Seiko 5s. They're probably Indian watches, redialed, repainted and cobbled together on the cheap. So why not go straight to the source and buy an Indian watch? Specifically the HMT Soma. If you have a look on eBay for HMT, there are dozens and dozens and dozens and hundreds of these things. I actually bought one a few years ago, little 17 jewel manual wind, but this time made in India. And hey, if you buy a Franken watch, that's fine. All you're buying is a watch made up of other HMT Somas. So in some ways it's a kind of Franken watch with a bit of purity about it, if you see what I mean. And I thought this one looked pretty good. White dial, looked good in the photos, everything nice and crisply finished, everything lined up, so I pulled the trigger on that one for just under £10. But I thought better safe than sorry, I'll buy a second one in case. And I came across this rather interesting looking red dialed one. Clearly it had been repainted, but as I said, at this price, who cares? And within a couple of weeks, both of those watches had indeed arrived from India. The white one, I have to say, was a total disappointment. As you can see there, the movement isn't fixed inside the case, it's wobbling all over the place. It clearly wasn't the watch that was advertised in the photos. Cautionary tale for all there. However, the red dial one arrived and was actually really quite cute. 18mm lug width on these. I've got a couple of 18mm straps. I upgraded from the pretty hideous plastic pleather type thing that they supply you with. I put it on this enormously expensive leather one that I had lying around the house, costing 2 and 3 times the value of the watch, and it actually goes okay. I had this one on the time grapher as well, coming in less than a minute variance either way. I reckon that's a bit of a result for £10. Certainly a contender for today's challenge. Moving on to Gumtree. Now I must admit I was a Gumtree virgin prior to this point. My wife uses it to dispose of old furniture, but I've never really gone there. And now that I have gone there, I understand why I've never really gone there. But it did give me access to a broader range of watches a la eBay, and I scoured across Australia hoping to find a nugget for about 20 Aussie dollars. I came across a couple, this Nixon Rerun and this Casio. I fancied both of those, but they weren't for haggling. And then I found this Lorus over in Perth, Western Australia. The owner claimed it was brand new, still had the stickers on. They bought it a few years ago, but it had sat in a drawer. The battery had died, $20 plus postage. I said, yes please, thanks very much. Now the watch duly arrived and was exactly as described. On paper, this surely has to be the best of all of the watches that I bought today. Lorus are part of the Seiko group, part of Seiko Epson. So the module inside this one is a Seiko quartz module, day-date complication, there's a little bit of lume on those hands, two-tone bracelet, new battery in it, total cost $22.50 Australian, about 12 quid. And I've got a watch that I'm sure will last a lifetime. But would I necessarily want to wear this one for a lifetime? Well, I did wear it out to work one day, and I must admit, when I looked down at my watch, it didn't exactly thrill me. It didn't exactly fill me with joy. This is probably the watch that your overweight uncle wears far too tight. It looks like it's severing the circulation in his left arm. But he's delighted with it. He's had it since the 1980s, and he'll probably die with that watch on your wrist. But is it the watch that you want to die with on your wrist? I'm not so sure. So I was back on eBay to see if I could find another nugget. Now please forgive me, the next thing I did was I bought a smartwatch. Again, there are so many of these things lurking around the £10 mark, all seeming to offer an incredible amount of value, incredible amount of features in something that doesn't look all that awful for well under £10. And I bought this one. It arrived in a couple of days, it was Australian stock, $17.99, so pretty much bang on budget. And I gotta say, there's a reason that you shouldn't buy one of these. It's because they're shit. It may well be laden with features, but I couldn't get any of them to work because the touchscreen is a nightmare. I could barely set the time on this one. Jesus. 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 Stop. Stop. God help me. I just don't have the patience to persevere with a cheap smartwatch. So lesson learned there. How many lessons are we up to so far? There is obviously one other avenue I have not pursued, and that is of course Casio. I love Casios. I review just as many Casios as any other brand on this channel. I think I've had Casios on my wrist and in my collection since I was a very wee lad, and I cannot see that changing as I turn into an old mate. Now, I wasn't allowed just to go and buy an F91. To be honest, they're a little bit small anyway, but I found this bad boy on eBay. Again, brand new, boxed, nobody else was interested, possibly because it was blue, but I managed to pick it up for less than 15 Australian dollars, plus a little bit of postage on top. It duly arrived in Sydney, brand new, in the box, as described, and has all of the features on it you could possibly want from a watch. So 6 watches later, what is the take-home message today? Well, can you buy a decent watch for £10? Absolutely you can. I bought maybe 3 decent watches for £10 if we include the Lorus, one of those HMTs and the Casio that was the last pickup. Would I want to wear any of those 3 watches? Well, perhaps not so much the Lorus, even though it's the on-paper winner today. The Casio would definitely stick around in my collection for a bit, and that little HMT Soma, a charming piece if you don't mind a 34mm, which I don't. So I can't believe I'm about to say this, but if you want to buy a decent watch for £10, you should buy an HMT Soma on eBay from India. Nah, I'm only kidding. You should buy the Casio. Leave me a comment, let me know about your bargain buying experiences. Did you manage to find that little nugget of Swiss horology that I so comprehensively failed to, or do you think I've just wasted 60 quid? Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.